All right, guys, welcome back to the podcast. We're going to do a little preview of tomorrow night's big games. We got Michigan State and Duke, followed by Kentucky and Kansas. With me tonight, I've got Tate and Hot Take Hoody. I'm Christ. So, guys, let's get your thoughts about this first game.
Well, the first game on the list for tomorrow night is Duke and Michigan State coming up at 7.
Number one versus number two.
Yep, 1 versus 2 matchup. Seems like we've had Duke has been in a couple of those in the last few years, and I'm just excited to see what happens. I mean, Tom Izzo versus Coach K, big time matchup there in the coaching position. Got a young team versus a team that has more experience, well coached. Both teams well coached. It's gonna be a fight to the end. I'd say.
Yeah, the thing that really worries me for Michigan State is that even though they are more experienced, Duke's freshmen have looked outstanding this year. I mean, we're used to everybody talking about Calipari's recruiting class, but the class Coach K's put together at Duke is pretty unreal right now.
Yeah, and Marvin Bagley leading that class. He's come out and averaged a double double in his first 2 games, or actually got a double double in both of his 2 first games at Duke. And how's those other freshmen looked? I've not really seen them too much.
Uh, well, Gary Trent Jr. is scoring 17 points a game right now, and he's shooting 54% from three. Duke as a whole shoots almost 67% from the 3-point line. But I think what's really going to hurt Michigan State is Trayvon Duval is averaging 3.5 steals a game in the first 2 games, and against a team that's kind of turnover prone anyways, I think he could really take advantage of some of Michigan State's sloppy ball handling.
So Izzo is 1-10 versus Duke.
Yeah, that kind of shocked me because you kind of think of Izzo as one of the giants of the game right now. I mean, pretty solid coach.
Yeah, he was actually one of my favorites. Well, he was my favorite to get the job back when Bill G got kicked off the team.
Yeah.
It seems like we have a pretty good record against Michigan State, right? Am I right in thinking that?
I don't know the exact record. Maybe one of you all could look that up. But
I know since Calipari's got there, we're 1-1 against Michigan State, and I think the only time we played them has been in the Champions Classic.
yeah. So anything else you might want to add about this game? I've not really seen either team play. I watched a little bit of Duke against Utah Valley.
Just from looking at the numbers, it looks like the front court battle is going to be really interesting. You got Marvin Bagley bringing in 10 rebounds to go with almost 25 points a game, and then for Michigan State, you've got Miles Bridges returning, who was phenomenal last year. He had 20 and 10 with 3 blocks in the first game, and Jaren Jackson is another outstanding freshman that you could see a lot of banging around in the post in this game.
Yeah, for sure. So who do you got in this game?
Well, Sparty's looked kind of shaky from 3-point line, and I think they kind of struggled with that a little bit last year too. Plus with the turnover issue, I just think Duke's going to come out. Coach K's probably going to throw a couple different looks at them, but I think Duke's just too deep, too good from three. I mean that offense is going to be hard to contain. So I think we're going to take Duke 85-77 tomorrow night.
I took Duke. Final score I have is 80-76. I definitely think that it's going to be a fairly high scoring affair, and Duke's just got a really potent offense and can really shoot the three. I think you said earlier that Duke was shooting 67%. They're actually shooting 45.8%.
Yeah,
Grayson Allen is shooting 67%. So I just want to
my
clarify
bad.
that.
I've got
late.
I knew what you meant.
I've
Yeah.
got Michigan State going in on this, guys. Sorry.
What's you got a score for us?
50 to 100.
50 to 100.
Yep. I'm gonna blow them out of the water.
Hot take.
It's not even close.
And what's your reason behind that score, Hoodie?
I like the color green.
That's effective way to predict scores. Now for the big matchup for us of the night, coming at 9:30. None other but John Calipari versus Billy Eugene Self Jr.
Rematch of the 2012 title game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Also the 2005 title game, right? Memphis and
2008.
2008. Yeah, that's right. So
Yeah.
Cal and Bill Eugene Self Jr. Yes, that is Bill Self's name. A little history for you. In 1985, Bill Self actually replaced John Calipari as assistant at Kansas after he left for the to be an assistant at the University of Pittsburgh. And then, of course, we all know about the Mario Chalmers shot against Memphis in that 2008 championship game, which was later vacated by Memphis anyway, but still. And then 2012, Cal gets a little revenge, comes back, beats Kansas in the championship game.
Beat them in the Champions Classic that year too.
Oh, absolutely smoked them.
No,
in
that was
2015.
2011 was the first time we met Kansas with Calipari at Kentucky, and I think it was a little bit closer. I think we might have won that game by 7-8 points.
Yeah, in 2015, I think we beat them by what, 30 points?
Man, it was like 32 points, but it felt like 100.
I remember in that game. I remember the camera, like late in the second half, going to Bill Self and just reading his lips. He says, "Man, they're going to beat us by 30."
It was that was the first time I looked at that team and thought, all right, there might be something to the 40-0 thing. Because man, we dominated every aspect of the game.
Yeah, it was total domination, and you could just see the disgust all over his face. I mean, it was right there on national television.
I remember the post game press conference when he came out. Took a drink of water and said, "Man, I wish that was vodka."
I remember that
because it was just an absolute beatdown. I think this one's probably going to go a little bit differently though.
Yeah, I agree with that. So Kansas has played Tennessee State. They actually played Missouri in an exhibition game before the regular season versus Tennessee State. They shot 60% from the field, 42% from three, and you kind of expect that from Tennessee State. I figured that be a little bit different in this game, being that we'll be a little bit more competition. But what really stuck out to me on this is they had 20 turnovers for the game.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be the one place that Kentucky has to take advantage because we really struggle to score in the half court. So the more turnovers we can force and get easy transition buckets, the more chance we have to win this game. Because if it's a slow, grinded out game, I don't really like our chances.
I was talking to Christian before we started. Tate, what do you think about our perimeter defense?
What perimeter defense?
Yeah, I say that because Kansas likes to shoot the three.
We got some problems. I'm just going to be honest. We have some serious problems. First game, our first podcast, I got on here and actually bragged a little bit on Quad A Green's on-ball defense, and he completely made me out to be a fool in the game against Vermont because he played zero defense. Like he couldn't even be on the floor on defense. It was terrible.
Yeah, one thing about that Vermont game, they really like to shoot the three, and we really struggled. Really struggled on the screen who was switching and who was not. And I was just, man, the way the Kansas shoots the three, I don't know. I don't know that we've got much of a chance in this.
Just some stats I have down here on some of the players. You got Mikhailuk. I think he's a senior this year. He shot pretty much 40%, 39.8% from three last season, and then 40% the year before that. And you got Vic shooting 37%, versus this year, and then 47.1% in the previous season, even though he only shot 17 shots. And then you got Graham. Uh, he's a senior, I'm pretty sure. He shot 38.8% last season, 44% in the season before that. And then you got Malik Newman from Mississippi State. He can shoot the three. So, I mean, they're a fairly complete team, to be honest.
Yeah, they should really challenge for a title this year. Against Vermont, I was just looking at the box score here. They went 10 for 29 from three, but that in no way reflects the kind of looks they were getting, because they were getting pretty much anything they wanted from the perimeter. And it's really a shame with Kentucky's length. We should be able to switch pretty much any kind of ball screen, but with the freshmen, it looks like they've not really grasped that concept yet.
Yeah, and I'm sure that'll improve as time goes on.
Yeah,
But I mean, I really don't expect to win this game,
no.
and that's just me trying to be honest with myself and with our listener.
Yeah, nothing would make me happier to see us come out and break this little losing streak we got against Kansas. But I mean, if you look at the past two games, the best we've looked in at all this season is when we've been able to drop back into a zone and cause turnovers with their length. With Kansas 3-point shot, that's not going to be an option. Um, they've also got their freshman coming back, Bill Preston, tomorrow. So we've not really seen Kansas at their full strength. I don't really know how well they rebound the ball, but I know Kentucky struggled with that too.
hmm
Um,
Yeah, Malik Newman didn't get the start on when they played Tennessee State due to missing a curfew or something like that.
yeah, then didn't attend class the next day, right?
Or that was Bill Preston actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he missed.
I heard
But Newman lost his start to one of the freshmen. Like,
You
okay.
gonna say something, Hoodie?
I heard that Bill Preston had got a little scared.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think that's what it
Hot
was.
take.
I think he stayed out all night and tried to drink
oh
his
yeah, that's what he was.
drink his fears away.
Yep.
Okay, so what do you think Kentucky has to do to win this game?
What we have to do, well, we got to stop straight line drives into the paint. I mean, you got to keep them out of the lane because even when I mean our 3-point our perimeter defense is not good, but I think the biggest thing right now is keeping people out of the lane, especially a team like Kansas. Um, I mean, they're 10 times more athletic than the teams we faced early on. They can shoot the three. For me, I think I don't know, maybe like you said, going to zone really puts you in a bad position on giving up 3-point shots. But I mean, we're gonna have to improve on defense.
For me, I think what it is, it's the 3-point shot on both sides. We're not a great 3-point shooting team, and with the loss of Jamal Baker before the season started, it's really kind of hindered us a lot on that front. Diallo has showed some promise from the 3-point shot, but I think if you go back to the last couple years, Kansas has really been adamant about just keeping Kentucky's teams out of the paint. You remember they ran a boxing one the year we played them in Kansas, and they kind of ran a triangle and two last year and up, and it really stifled our offense. So I think we've got to make outside shots to bring them out of that, and then we've got to keep them. We got to run them off the line on the other side. I mean, we can't let them shoot 10, 15 threes and expect to win this game.
Yeah. So yeah, that I think that's really gonna be a bigger factor than we realize. And
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see who on Kentucky rises to the occasion, though, because you know the old saying that big time players make big time plays in big time games, and this is a big time game. So I'm really excited to see who performs, just so we know where we stand going forward.
I think my X factor for this game is Winyon Gabriel. I don't think he's really performed like he will have to in the first two games. He's gonna have to really do something, you know.
Yeah, And he's another guy who has the ability to knock down that outside shot. We've seen it a little bit last year. We've seen it at times this year. Um, he's also got the ability to just be an elite defender, and we're really going to need him helping these freshmen understand when to switch ball screens, because that's just going to be Kansas is going to throw us ball screens all night long, trying to get their shooters open.
Yeah, and
And
that just requires communication, which comes with experience playing with each other.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean this is going to be a really tough game early in the year.
but it's good though. I think we'll learn more from this game than we would if we had scheduled maybe a lesser opponent and just beat the snot out of them on both ends of the floor.
Absolutely. Just like I was telling you before, Michigan State, they usually always
Yeah,
take an early loss. It's usually always like you never really hear of Michigan State going, making it to 12-0, 15-0. Like there's usually one or two games they drop pretty
yeah.
early, and
And
then
I'll trade a
in March
November
they're always ready.
loss for a March win any day of the week.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
For
And
sure.
another thing about Kentucky's schedule I really like is pretty much at the end of every month we've got a yardstick game to kind of see where we're going. We've got Kansas coming up, and then next month we've got Louisville, and then in January, right before conference play, we have to go to Morgantown and play West Virginia. So
I'll tell you this much: if hairstyles reflected skill, we'd be favored to win the championship. Like right
you
now,
think so?
I think so. Have you seen these
How so?
guys? Their
Yeah,
Oh,
their
you're talking
hair
about
their
Gilgeous
hair is out
Alexander.
there.
that's. So are you going by best hairstyles besides winners, or just crazy hairstyles?
Yes.
Okay,
Gilgeous Alexander.
What
That
about
is the craziest looking guy I've ever seen.
man. Every time I see him run up the court, I think it's Fox, because Fox kind of had that thing going on last year too.
See, I do not. I'm
Well,
just thinking, man, this guy has a huge spider with about 1,000 legs coming out of his skull. That's what I think. I
he's
just wish he
another guy. He's kind of disappointed me early in the season.
who was
really.
it that had
Yeah, I mean,
Go
in
ahead.
the last game, Quade Green he was really good, controlling the offense and getting good looks, but he kind of lacked on the defensive end. And I just feel like the offense doesn't move as well when we've got Alexander at the point.
Quade Green is a great. I think he's a real good shooter. So I mean, yeah,
He
having
should see
him on,
some minutes. Yeah,
having him on the floor is really you're going to see benefits of that on offense. But I mean, he was such a liability on defense. It
it
was
was bad. It was really bad.
yeah.
Oh, back to the hairstyles. Who was it that had the afro? Was it Brandon Knight? But it was before. It was I think whoever it was, they had their head shaved before the season had started. I'm pretty sure it was
I'm
Brandon
not
Knight.
sure. I
I'm
have
not
no
sure
clue
who
what
you're
you're talking about.
I don't think
Patrick
Brandon.
Patterson, maybe he kind of let his hair grow out a little bit, but it wasn't like
Okay,
an
I remember
afro.
that. I think
Brandon Knight had cornrows and then
Yeah.
shaved his head before he got on campus.
I'm not sure. It might have been it. I remember somebody had some wild dude going on.
So we got any final score predictions on this Kentucky game?
I do. I do. I want to hear Hoodie's first.
No,
I do
go ahead.
too.
You first.
No,
You guys first.
go ahead, hot take Hoodie,
Why me?
because we want to hear it.
Okay, listen. This game will be closer than the Michigan State Duke game. They're not gonna
I
blow
would
them out of the
hope
water
so.
like Michigan State will blow Duke out of the water. Kentucky wins by 15.
Really?
Yep. No, I don't know.
Bold prediction.
I'm just
You
here.
lying?
I'm just here so I won't get fined. Kentucky. I'm gonna say Kentucky. Just because I
Tate?
can.
I'm gonna take. I hope Kentucky wins. Obviously. Kansas 78, Kentucky 72.
Oh, a lot closer than I thought it would be. If you want my honest opinion, I think if Kentucky can keep this game and win 10, 15 points, you got to take that as a win at this stage in the season. I think Kansas probably takes advantage of us trying to push the tempo and gets a lot of open looks in transition. So I'm going to say Kansas 84, Kentucky 70.
Honestly, I think three is gonna be a big thing. I think Kansas will win, but I couldn't give you a score.
Have you nailed down your prediction yet, Hoodie?
Kansas.
If we
All
don't
right.
keep them out of the lane, like we haven't the last few teams, then no, there's no chance. We have no chance.
It's going to be interesting. It could be a long, long night. I really just hope the referees stay out of it. I don't want to watch a whistle fest.
Usually these early season games, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
There's usually something that the refs are keying in on.
Yeah,
It's
and
been
it's
forced
just a
into them.
mess. Yeah.
Yep.
Blow the whistle.
All right. So I guess we'll wind down here. Are we going to do a podcast after the game tomorrow night?
Yes, so this concludes our preview of the Kentucky, Kansas, Duke, Michigan State games in the Champions Classic tomorrow night. There will be a podcast following the game, uploaded later that night, more than likely.
Also got a recruiting announcement tomorrow evening, don't we?
Yeah.
Tyler, is it Hero or Hero?
Hero. And
Hero.
it's actually looking pretty good for the Cats. I
Yeah.
understand. Yep.
Calipari looks like he's sick of being left out on the shooters, going for a lot of backcourt guys for next year.
Oh,
That
yeah.
would be nice. That would really be nice.
Also, we got the college football playoff rankings come out tomorrow night between games, so I'm sure we'll have a podcast later in the week discussing that.
Yep. Yep. So I think the way that we're planning to, our schedule that we're planning to have is maybe release the podcast every Friday, Saturday night. Is that right?
Somewhere around there, somewhere around the
Yeah.
weekend.
And then maybe, just one after important games, or if something comes up in the week, maybe we can have like a really brief discussion about it, kind of like we did tonight. So.
And got Justice League coming out this weekend, so I'm sure me and Hoodie will have something to say about that.
Oh, yeah. Plenty to say. I already have notes.
Might have a short little podcast discussing that later in the week too.
Yep. So be sure to follow us on Twitter at @TheBandwagonX. That is our Twitter handle, and we will probably be changing that sometime in the near future. So stay tuned for any changes that we may have for that. You want to take us home, Hoodie?
Sure. See you guys. See ya.
What a conclusion.